evening, we are speaking with Dr. R.Y. Deshpande, a renowned physicist from BARC, Baba Atomic Research Center. He retired early to move to Pondicherry to spend his days working with the Aurobindo Ashram. A poet, author, critic, and an expert on Sri Aurobindo's epic book, Savitri. He is a true Aurobindonian. Dr. Deshpande,
Yes, please.
I would like to ask you a few questions on Savitri and your thoughts on it.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Sharbari, for the kind introduction. I am very happy to be associated with you, and let me see in what best way I can respond to your queries, you see, because the subject Savitri itself is an ocean. It's an ocean under ocean under ocean under ocean, and it depends upon how deep you want to dive into it. So one cannot really be an expert in that sense, but one is trying to swim at different levels of the ocean, you see. So I would put it that way. So with that, let me see to what extent I can really answer your queries, your questions, or what you want to call it, you see, and we will develop a dialogue.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So for us lay people who have probably heard the story of Savitri and Satyavan and Yam, the god of death, at our grandmother's knees or as we were growing up, we took it at a very basic level. Savitri was a good wife. In fact, there is this saying, Sati Savitri, means the good wife, the perfect wife, who defeats even Yam, the god of death, for her husband, right? But as Dr. Deshpande has analyzed and gone deep into it, and with a scientific background, of course, this really goes into science. So, immortal, coming back from the dead, what is it? Is it coming back from the dead? Is it immortal? And is it just a dream or a story?
Well, let me first give you a very brief background about Savitri itself, and then maybe some of these things will unfold in the course of our presentation. Originally, the story of Savitri, as is found in Mahabharata, Vyasa Savitri, it is a short story, and it is presented in the Mahabharata corpus as an illustration of a dutiful lady who is kind of committed to do certain duties, and she is committed to that thing, and she is fulfilling those things, and it is the fulfillment of those duties which bring automatically, so to say, the rewards, very rich rewards, and therefore there is a fulfillment of duty and the reception of reward. See, that is the basic structure of that thing. But the issues which are dealt with in the story are very deep, are very fundamental, are very basic, are capital importance, you see. It is not just a question of bringing back her husband from the clutches of death. Well, that is of course an aspect, but that is a symbolic way of saying something more than what it conveys to you, see, basically, see, symbolic way of saying. Essentially, let us put it this way, look at this way. Savitri is a young girl, hardly 20 years or so, and she had chosen for her husband Satyavan as a youth who is staying in a hermitage in a forest. She is a princess brought up in a royal family with all the luxuries, with all the abundances at her disposal, and she had chosen this young man, youth, the Aryan youth, who is staying in a hermitage, you see. Now, that itself becomes a little contrast. Why she had chosen such a person? Well, that is one small aspect of it, but the more important aspect of it, when she goes back and tells to her parents that I have chosen this youth, this young man, as my future husband, then it so happens that at that time of their communication, discussion, says Narad from heaven happens to be in the palace. Well, it is a kind of a purposeful visit, but he is present there in the palace, and she discloses in the presence of Narad that she had chosen Satyavan for her future husband. You see, naturally the parents will ask the sage, "What do you think about this proposal? Is this all right? Is it acceptable? Can we proceed further?" Which are sort of natural questions, you see. And at that time, Narad first sort of bypasses the question, goes around and all that thing. He says, "Don't bother," he says like that, you see. But then ultimately he is forced, he is compelled to tell what is the truth behind the whole thing. And he says that 1 year after their marriage, at this moment, at this kshana, at this spot, at this place, Satyavan is going to die. Satyavan is going to die. That is the kind of a revelation he is making of the future of Savitri. Now a young girl, hardly 20 years old, she has chosen her husband, and she is seeing the future of her husband this way. No young girl, either of modern age or of the ancient age also, would accept such a proposal, you see. I mean, who will? And certainly her mother is not going to accept it. She would not like her daughter to be a widow 1 year after the marriage, you see. How can it be? She opposes this thing, all that sort of thing. But Savitri is firm in her resolve. Savitri is firm in her resolve. She says, it is not the question of 1 year or so. I know what I am doing, what I am here for, what is the purpose behind the whole thing. She gets some sort of an inner knowledge, inner prompting, and she sticks to that. She has the firmness, she has the will, she has the capacity to stand by what her inner prompting is proposing and telling her. So that is the greatness of Savitri. Savitri says that, yes, if he is going to die, I also know how to take care of such a death. She asserts that thing. And then with that sort of an assertion, naturally Narad and her parents bless her that everything will be all right. And then the marriage is performed, etc., etc. And exactly 1 year after the marriage, Satyavan death occurs in the forest and all that, you see. The death occurs in a lonely forest. You see, Satyavan and Savitri, they are staying now for 1 year in the hermitage, and on the day of death, Savitri gets up early in the morning. She knows nobody else in the world except her parents and Narad and she knows about the death of Satyavan, not even her husband.
Okay.
He has absolutely no inkling that tomorrow he is going to die, you see. Nobody has that view. But Savitri knows that she is counting the days because Narad has fixed the time and date and everything. She is counting the date, and before the arrival of the date, she is preparing herself inwardly, consciously, yogically to meet the challenge of death. She is already preparing that sort of a thing, you see. And on the day of death, she gets up early in the morning and she worships Goddess Durga. The statue of Goddess Durga was carved on a stone by her husband Satyavan himself. She goes and offers her prayer to her. Now, traditionally, symbolically, by our association with Durga, Durga is a goddess who gives you protection.
Okay.
She is the goddess of protection. She is also a goddess who brings victory to you. So it is a double thing, not only protection but also victory. So she is worshipping Goddess Durga and she receives something inwardly, and then Satyavan and Savitri, they go to the forest where he goes for his daily work of collecting fruits and flowers and for the yajna, for the hermitage operation as a duty. That day, on that particular day, she accompanies him and they go to the forest. Satyavan is happy that his beloved is there with him, Naturally, they had never been together like that, but on that day they are together. So he shows him all the beautiful things around, the mountains, the trees, the flowers, the birds, everything, rivers, and he is very joyous about it. And in that joy, he wants to complete his work of the day quickly, so that he can give more time to his wife, to his beloved, naturally, you see. And he starts his work very vigorously, and the result is that as a result of that hectic work, he feels tired, and his strokes, his operations become erratic, and he feels as if some kind of weapons are penetrating into his brain, into his heart, like that. He feels that sort of a thing. And then he says, Savitri, this is something very unusual to me, but I feel as if some arrows are piercing into my head and all that. He gets down, comes closer to her and tells her, let me lie in your lap. I am sure that by lying in your lap, everything will be all right, everything will be safe, you see. I mean, he has no, but the prompting is that, I mean, everything will be safe and all that thing. She takes him in her lap and all that, and at that point of time, she sees a powerful, glowing, very strong image of a God standing in front of her. And she asks him, who are you? What's the purpose you have come here for? She asked that image, and he is the God of death himself, Yama, who comes here, and Yama tells to Savitri, look, this life of Satyavan is over. I have come here to collect his soul. I have come here to collect his soul. That is my job. I come here for that purpose. At that point, Savitri asked him, I hear that normally when a person dies, you don't go personally yourself to pick up the soul of the dying man. You send your emissaries, your duta and whatever it is. Why is it that you have come here? I mean, I am surprised that you should have come personally yourself to take the soul of Satyavan. Yama praised Satyavan's soul very highly. He says, his is a soul with infinite qualities. He is a guna sagara. He is an ocean of qualities, guna sagara, ocean of qualities, and not a small man can lift up, take away his soul, and that is why I come personally using. So that is the kind of a dialogue which goes on, and then later on in the course of their discussion and all that thing, Savitri puts all types of arguments, Yama puts all types of arguments. It is a kind of a logomachy, one argument fighting against the other. And it is not just the verbal argument, each utterance is an occult weapon which is flung on the opponent. It's just not a technical argument or rational argument. You are saying something, it means that you are sending some power with that thing, which has to be impacted by the other. Same way the other thing comes here. So like that, the logomachy continues for a long time, and then Yama is sort of convinced about what Savitri is here, and she tells him that I have come here for a purpose. I want the soul of Satyavan, not for myself. I really don't need him, because we have been always together. She knows that we have been always together. There is no power in the world, in the universe, which can separate us. But here in the mortal world, we have come here together for a certain purpose. And the fulfillment of the purpose is the most important thing for me. Yama sees a certain merit in that argument. Fulfillment of a certain purpose in the mortal world. In mortal world. That is the crucial thing. And Yama therefore gives a sanction to her, gives her blessings to her. Yes, that fulfillment of the mortal world is the essential thing in the course of evolution, in the course of development of mankind, of the soul of the earth itself. And therefore he grants her that boon, and therefore she comes back with the soul of Satyavan to this earth. Now while she is coming, bringing down the soul of Satyavan from above, from the heaven, you see, like that, behind her, following her, coming behind her are the figures of Krishna and Kali. While she is bringing down the soul of Satyavan like a bird, very close to her heart, what follows is Krishna and Kali coming down here. Krishna is the Anandamaya Purusha who is coming to the earth. Kali is the dynamic power, Shakti of the divine who will be working in the mortal world. So she is not really bringing the soul of Satyavan. In a way, bringing the soul of Satyavan is a small matter. The greater thing is she has brought down Krishna and Kali upon the earth. The Anandamaya Purusha, that is Krishna, the joy, the happiness, the bliss in this creation, that is what she is bringing down here. And of course, to put that Ananda into the dynamics of life here, of existence here, of a creation here, so that more and more facets of this creation unfold in the course of time. Kala has to move forward and do certain things like that. So they come here. So I would rather say the greater contribution of Savitri's work of yoga is not really bringing back the soul of Satyavan, of winning the immortality, but bringing down those divine powers upon the earth, upon the manifestation. Now this is a thing which cannot be considered as temporary gain of mortality. It is a permanent asset, a permanent gift which is offered to the mortal world by Savitri's yoga, you see. She has come for that purpose, she is here and she is doing her work. To hew the ways of immortality, that is what the lines from Savitri. To hew, to cut the ways of immortality in the mortal world. Not up there, not here. In this mortal world, this mortal creation, mortal world has a certain role to play in the scheme of the divine functioning. It is a small world, but in the vastness of the universe, that role is important. What is going to happen in the mortal world will naturally sort of by contagion move around everywhere in the entire universe and have its own effect everywhere, in the worlds of the gods, in the worlds of everywhere that thing. So I would rather say it is not a small partial gain of Savitri from that angle. It is a basic fundamental cosmic issue which is being attended in the story. And the whole thing is narrated in the form of a legend as a story, but what it means is that when he is narrating as a story, whether it is Vyasa, in fact the story belongs to a much older time than Mahabharata. The story of Savitri is recited not in this manner but symbolically by way of hints in the Veda itself, in the Rig Veda itself. So it had the origin in the Rig Veda. The mortal creation moving towards immortal manifestation in the mortal world, that is the basic thing. The immortality manifesting itself in the mortal world, that is the basic thing of the Vedic rishis, and that has been coming down to us. When they are stating these things, it means that they are putting their entire power of tapasya, of yajna, of yoga into that thing and consolidating it and making it more and more powerful. So when Shebanu is taking up that story, it's not just a legend he is writing, he is not narrating a household episode, but he is actually doing some sort of a yogic work behind the whole thing and establishing the higher truth in this creation. So I would rather say that is the general framework of Savitri. And when we are talking of immortality, immortality is a means. Immortality is an occasion to get certain things done. Without that, certain thing, higher thing, greater thing, the divine things cannot happen. And therefore, that becomes the foundation, that becomes the necessity condition rather. In fact, yesterday I was telling him that more than immortality, what is being established here in this creation is deathlessness.
I agree with you.
You agree with this?
I agree with you.
Deathlessness. So it is the deathlessness which is being established in the world of death, in the mortal world. Our world, earth, is called Mrityu Loka.
Mrityu Loka.
Mrityu Loka. Our world is called Mrityu Loka, mortal world. They have been saying, they have been talking of the thing as Mrityu Loka. In Mrityu Loka, to establish something which is Amara, which has no death at all, that is the entire purpose of this whole creation. the creation is meant, the design of the Supreme is such that through this process, this creation then grows into higher and higher dimensions of expression of the divine in this creation, you see. So that is the purpose of the mortal world, you see. So mortal, immortal, you see, they are small phrases, but the essence is the question of a higher, superior, nobler, divine manifestation as the basic issue which has been taken as a problem by the Supreme himself, and he is unfolding that problem, he is solving that problem, he is working out all the details and putting every machinery to get it achieved, to achieve it, you see.
So, just as I told you, when we were growing up, we really listened to the story of Savitri and Satyavan as a small story. But just in this last few minutes from Dr. Deshpande, we learned how much more deep this simple story, what depth it has and what meaning it has, that most of us haven't probably thought about or put into perspective. So this leads me into my next question, the deathlessness, moving into deathlessness of this world.